It started as a harmless game. At least, that's what Daniel thought. It was just another underground challenge. A whispered rumor spreading across internet forums. A mysterious website that only appeared for those who knew where to look. A high-stakes game of intellect and survival. Nobody knew who ran it, and nobody ever met a previous winner. The rules were simple. Solve the puzzles, beat the challenges, outsmart the unseen forces that worked against you. The prize? A fortune beyond imagination. Daniel wasn't afraid. He had spent years refining his mind, hacking into places he wasn't supposed to be, outwitting security systems built to keep people like him out. He had cracked encrypted codes, broken into databases, and evaded digital traps meant for lesser players. This would be no different. The game began with an email. No sender, no traceable origin, just a single line of text. Are you ready to play? Without hesitation, Daniel clicked the link. The screen went black for a moment, and then a countdown appeared. 60 seconds. A voice, distorted and hollow, echoed from his speakers. Welcome, player. Your challenge begins now. The first puzzle was deceptively simple, an encrypted cipher hiding a location. Daniel cracked it in under 2 minutes. The next challenge was more complex, requiring him to manipulate a sequence of symbols that didn't exist in any known language. Again, he pushed through. As the night wore on, the puzzles became more intricate, the stakes higher. The game adapted to his skill level, throwing obstacles he had never encountered before. But he was winning. He could feel it. The final challenge was a test of will, a psychological nightmare. The game pulled from his worst fears, his deepest regrets, forcing him to confront things he had long buried. He pushed through the mental torment, barely holding on to reality. And then, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the screen flashed a single word. Congratulations. His body trembled with exhaustion, sweat dripping down his face. He had done it. He had won. But instead of a prize, the screen remained black, silent. And then something changed. His computer screen flickered, distorting like an old VHS tape. The lights in his apartment dimmed, as if something unseen was drawing the energy from the room. A new message appeared. You weren't supposed to win. Daniel's stomach twisted. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. Before he could react, another line appeared. Now they want revenge. A sudden knock at his door shattered the silence. It wasn't a normal knock. It was slow, deliberate, 3 heavy pounds that sent vibrations through the floor. He turned toward the door, his pulse hammering in his throat. No one should be there. He stood slowly, creeping toward the peephole. Outside, the hallway was empty, but something felt wrong. The air was thick, suffocating. He reached for the doorknob, hesitated, then turned it. The door swung open to an empty corridor. The flickering overhead light buzzed softly. Just as he was about to step back inside, a shadow moved at the far end of the hall. It wasn't walking. It wasn't running. It was gliding. A tall, distorted figure, its limbs too long, its head tilted at an unnatural angle. It didn't make a sound, yet Daniel could feel the pressure of its presence, as if it were pulling the air from his lungs. He slammed the door shut and locked it, stumbling backward. His computer screen was now filled with static, the distorted voice crackling through his speakers. You changed the game. Now, the game will change you. His phone vibrated violently on his desk. A new message. No number, no name. Run. A crash sounded from his bedroom. His blood ran cold. Someone or something was inside. Daniel grabbed the nearest object, a heavy lamp, and stepped forward, his breath coming in short, ragged gasps. He inched toward the bedroom door, which was slightly ajar, the darkness beyond it stretching infinitely. He pushed the door open wider. The window was shattered, shards of glass littering the floor. The cold night air blew into the room, carrying with it an unnatural stillness. And then he saw them, figures standing outside in the darkness, unmoving, watching. Their faces were obscured, their bodies blending into the shadows. But he could feel their eyes, deep, hollow voids that burrowed into his soul. His phone buzzed again. Another message. Too late. The light bulb above him exploded, plunging the room into darkness. A sharp, inhuman whisper slithered into his ears, wrapping around his mind like a vice. Daniel never should have played. He never should have won. Because now, the game wasn't over. It was only just beginning,